What would you do if you saw your friend, a hard-working family man, being systematically exploited to the point of tears? In today's story, my choice to intervene not only saved my friend's livelihood but also delivered a masterclass in turning the tables on a manipulative boss. Back in my warehouse days, our store had an ever-growing clearance section. To handle the volume, the company hired a dedicated delivery driver, a man we'll call Leo. Now, Leo wasn't just any driver. He was a legend, a veteran of the industry. He owned two of his own trucks, one smaller and one larger, and did most of the heavy lifting himself. He'd always take the time to chat as I helped him load up his run. And on scorching hot days, he'd bring me a cold beer, knowing I'd been busting my ass. He told me he used to work for a bunch of high-end furniture stores. But the last recession hit hard. Companies went belly up or slashed costs. And he found himself scrambling for work. My company had the opposite problem. They couldn't keep delivery drivers because they were cheap and refused to pay standard industry rates. Leo was willing to make a few concessions for cash-in-hand work. A vulnerability our management, particularly the store manager, Karen, naturally exploited. After some trouble in the warehouse, I asked Leo if I could pick up a few shifts as his delivery offsider or helper. He said yes immediately, complaining about lazy employees he'd had in the past. I fell in love with the work instantly. We'd start at 4 a.m. to get deliveries on the road by 6. And if we scheduled everything just right, we could be done by 2:30 in the afternoon. I loved the physicality of it, the freedom of the open road, and swapping stories with Leo. He'd talk about his wife and kids, and I'd make fun of his tacky scorpion tattoo. The problems began with the delivery run sheets Leo would get from Karen. To give you an idea, for a full day of 20 to 30 deliveries concentrated in one area, the store would charge a flat $95. Leo's runs were different. He'd have maybe 5 to 8 deliveries, but they were spread all over the city, so he had to charge slightly more. But the prices Karen was quoting customers were insane. Leo would go in and ask her, why was this customer only charged $50 for a 3-seater sofa bed that has to go up 6 flights of stairs? A delivery like that should have been $110. Plus an extra $100 for every flight of stairs past the first. Karen would just shrug her shoulders and say she reduced the delivery fee to close the sale. She said it with such dismissiveness, completely unaware that this habit of cutting corners at my friend's expense would be the very thing that would lead to her own downfall. We'd get other jobs, like carrying a 10-piece sectional sofa up 7 flights of stairs because the customer didn't reserve the elevator, or the pieces were too big for the lift anyway. After all that backbreaking work, getting the sofa inside, unbagging it, connecting the sections, and taking all the rubbish away, the customer would hand Leo just $30 in cash. It was soul-crushing. I remember one particularly brutal delivery. I got the customer to sign the paperwork while Leo said he'd meet me back at the truck. When I got downstairs, rubbish in hand, and climbed into the passenger seat, I saw Leo trying not to look at me. His face was streaked with tears. I asked if he was okay, and the dam just broke. He confessed that he was struggling to pay his bills, that our company was his only decent source of income, and that Karen was screwing him over so badly he might have to sell his trucks just to stay afloat. My heart went out to him. This man was becoming a fast friend, and he genuinely loved his job. But he was being bled dry. Right then and there, a plan began to form in my mind. A plan based on my inside knowledge of Karen, the area manager, and the company as a whole. I took Leo to a small bar for a few drinks. We sat in a quiet booth, and I laid out my plan for revenge. Leo, I started. Why don't you just give Karen a fixed price list and charge what you're worth? He shook his head. If I do that, the manager said they'd drop me and find someone cheaper. I just laughed. Call her. Call her now and quit. I explained the reality of the situation. We had already seen the run sheet for the next day. It was a massive run with 10 deliveries. And we knew Karen had quoted ridiculously cheap prices. Like $20 a delivery. Look. I told him. Any other contract driver would charge a $200 minimum per delivery. There is no way. Absolutely no way. Another driver will touch this company for what they pay. Leo was pale, looking sick and panicked. But he trusted me. He got on his phone, called Karen, and put her on speaker. He quit. Right then and there. As expected, Karen talked a big game, saying they'd be better off without him and that he just lost his biggest contract. Leo hung up, his face ashen. I reassured him it would be okay. I checked my watch. It was 1 p.m. and the store closed at 5. I promise you, I said. By 4 p.m. she'll call you back. In the meantime, we drafted a new list of demands. If they wanted Leo back, they would have to agree to everything. A preset price list for all deliveries, provided by Leo. The company would pay for Leo's off-sider and his gas. An additional fee for any difficult deliveries, like balcony lifts or having to use fire escapes. A proper notice period if they ever wanted to terminate his contract. Sure enough, at 4:30 p.m. Leo's phone rang. It was Karen. He answered and put her on speaker. Her tone was much more polite now. She said that if Leo would just do the delivery for tomorrow, she would offer him a $50 gift card for the store. I reached over and hung up the call for him. Leo looked at me in disbelief. When she calls back, I told him. You lay out your demands. No negotiating. 5 minutes later, she called again. Karen started her spiel. But Leo, channeling months of frustration, cut her off. He was nervous at first, his voice trembling slightly. But then he found his footing. The months of being screwed over kicked in, and he laid down the law like a champion. He listed every single problem, every underpayment, every grueling delivery. Karen actually laughed off his requests. I gave Leo a nod. He took a deep breath and delivered the final blow. Karen, you know as well as I do that no other driver will get out of bed for less than $250 a delivery for what you're proposing. You either sign off on my demands, or good luck finding someone to do tomorrow's run. Fine. Fine. She snapped. Do the delivery tomorrow and then we can. No. Leo cut her off. I'm coming down there now. You will sign off on everything tonight. Then we will load the truck. He hung up. We drove to the store. And Karen looked absolutely furious. She kept complaining that Leo had her between a rock and a hard place. That he was extorting her. As many of you are probably thinking, how could someone knowingly screw over a good man and then play the victim? I couldn't help but point out. I'm sure Leo's kids would like to eat tomorrow. Leo slapped the new contract, handwritten by him in the truck, on her desk and simply said, "Sign it." She signed it. As Leo backed his truck into the warehouse, we saw the delivery items waiting for us: sofa beds, glass coffee tables, all the heaviest, most awkward items the company sold. Karen walked out and smirked as we struggled to load the extremely heavy goods into the truck. That smirk revealed her greatest flaw, her belief that she was always the smartest person in the room, completely blind to the fact she had just handed us the very weapon we would use against her. As we finished, she had some snarky parting words. "John," she said with a sneer, "with this new contract, just so we are clear, you have to fulfill the delivery no matter what. Right? No matter what." "Huh?" I muttered. "Even if the customer isn't home." She continued, "I expect you to make sure the goods are there. I don't want any goods coming back to this warehouse." "You got it," Leo said with a smile. The next day was glorious. As it turned out, about 80% of the customers' goods wouldn't fit through their doors because Karen, in her rush to make sales, never bothered to tell them to measure their door frames. We had customers screaming at us, calling us unfair for demanding they pay more than the paltry $20 Karen had quoted. We just laughed and complied with Karen's directive. We left every single piece of furniture at the property. Some were left in hallways. Others were left in the middle of doorways, completely blocking access. Some we just left on the front step because the customers refused to accept the delivery or pay us at all. For the few nice customers who were prepared and had cash ready, we went the extra mile to get their goods in safely and make sure they had the best experience possible. The fallout was beautiful. Karen had to personally call all the angry customers and explain that she had misquoted their delivery prices. When they refused to pay the difference, she had to pay for Leo's delivery costs by invoicing the company, a move that cost her a significant chunk of her performance bonuses. As for Leo, his story gets even better. A while later, I quit that warehouse job after landing a few acting gigs, which eventually led to a role on a prominent TV series. Once I was settled in, I talked to one of the producers about my friend Leo. He got a job with the production, picking up sets from the studio warehouse and transferring them to the studio. He now works with the night crew to erect the sets for the next day's shooting. I see him around the studio lot all the time. He's making great money, comfortably supporting his family, and putting his kids through school. And yes, we still share a good, hard-earned beer at the end of the day. This story is a powerful reminder that knowing your own value and having a friend who truly has your back is the ultimate defense against exploitation. It can turn a desperate situation into a story of triumph. So, let me ask you, have you ever had to stand up to a manager like Karen? Either for yourself or for someone else? What happened?